Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Star Wars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
In a world where people need 80s and 90s movie reviews, two regular Geordies combine forces to bring you the Brother to Brother 80s and 90s movie review podcast. Check them out on Twitter, YouTube, and all decent podcast vendors.
Welcome to Star Wars, best place for below average Star Wars.
Hello there, and welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I am the Geordie Jedi Pete.
I'm Jason Hondo Ling.
And I'm Kat Rees-Yelke.
And we are here with our last episode before Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, Jason. Merry Christmas, Kat.
And to you, Pete. And to you,
Merry
Kat.
Christmas, Happy Life Day.
Yes, happy Life Day to all of the wonderful listeners out there listening to the Star Wars. Let's kick things right off. I've been in a bit of a shell, someone who works in warehousing and retail in the run up to Christmas, and I've missed this. But I hear, Kat, that there is a new surprise Book of Boba Fett teaser TV spot.
There is indeed. This one is called Authority. I'm actually glad they're named because trying to keep up with them otherwise would be quite tricky. There is now 9 days to go, currently today, for the Book of Boba Fett. I think this may be the last teaser or last but one. In this teaser, what we get to see is more dialogue from Fennec in a new interaction with Boba Fett. And they're both very mistrustful of the denizens of Tatooine, quite rightly by the looks of it. There's a Twi'lek that comes to see them, and this is who they're being very suspicious of. And it looks like the Ithorian, that's the alien with the very long face and eye stalks, that's been turning up in the trailers, looks to be maybe a mayor of one of the outposts of Tatooine. So I'm expecting that him to be corrupt Sheriff of Nottingham style, I think. And we also get to see quite briefly, about at the 20-second mark, what looks to be the Star Wars version of a moped. You hear that right. The Star Wars version of a moped, part of the speeder bike chase. And that is a seriously cool ride. I want to see this now.
Yeah, I've missed this one, but you saying that there's like a speeder bike version of a moped has got me wanting to go and watch this TV spot right now. That sounds fascinating.
It looks really cool. It's bright red. It's got like the headlights, the handlebars, but rather than the wheels of a moped, obviously it hovers. It's got hover engines, and I just love the design. Oh, I want to know everything about this. I want to know who's riding it. I want to know who designed it. I want to know where I can get one.
Are you going to get the Black Series version of it when it comes out to buy?
If there's a Lego version, I think this would make a really good Lego set.
Oh, you're going to have to design a Lego set, Kat.
Oh, I've not got the brains of those incredible designers.
Jason,
have you got a chance to watch this TV spot yet?
I've briefly caught up on it. As I said to you earlier, I've sort of, like you say, got lost with all of the trailers. A lot of them, or teasers, I should say, a lot of them have got very similar bits in them and that. I saw this one, but I'll be honest, I can't remember seeing the moped, so I'm going to have to go back and look at it myself.
Yeah, like I'm sure I've seen about maybe 5 different ones of these TV spots. I'm sure there's more than that now, but I can only really pinpoint like maybe 3 different things happening. But I think that's maybe a good thing. You know, I don't want to go into this thing with the story spoiled for us. Am I right in thinking that Robert Rodriguez was talking this week saying we've only seen the first half of the first episode in these TV spots?
I think he did say something like that. From what I've been reading, this has been kept super under wraps. Like even people working on it, such as Ming Na Wen, didn't know that they were sort of making the book of Boba Fett. They thought they were doing like another season of The Mandalorian.
Yeah, I know
That's
Jessica Biels has said exactly the same, hasn't she? That she didn't even know what she was filming as she was filming it.
that's pretty crazy, but good. You know, let's keep these secrets. One of the reasons why Mandalorian works so well is that, especially the first season, was that the child was sort of kept secret until you sort of saw him on screen, which is absolutely fantastic when you first see that happen on screen. You see the child, it makes your jaw drop, makes you jump out your seat. So yeah, definitely. Obviously, this will probably be our last recording before the first episode comes out, possibly. Jason, what's your final thoughts going into Book of Boba Fett? Of how excited are you, and what are you hoping to see?
I'm really looking forward to it because I just love all the Star Wars television stuff and anything that's got Dave Filoni and John Favreau involved. As far as I'm concerned, it's perfect. The one thing I am looking forward to is seeing what they're doing with the character of Boba Fett. From the trailer or the teasers, it does look like he's trying to set up a very different regime to the one that Jabba had done. I know there's the line where I think it said, "Jabba ruled with fear. I want to rule with respect." So I'm looking forward to that, and that obviously goes in with the whole Mandalorian thing of everyone follows a code sort of thing. And obviously previously with Boba Fett as a bounty hunter, they all had their different codes and that. So yeah, it's all in all, I cannot wait to see the premiere episode. I will be getting up as early as possible that morning to log into Disney Plus and see what they've brought on.
Yeah, have they said what time it'll air in the UK?
I am guessing it's going to stick to. Most of them tend to drop at 8 a.m. on because this one's on the Friday, isn't it? Is it the Friday?
Friday's a Star Wars release days on Disney Plus.
Yeah, so
If it's the 29th, 29th is a Wednesday.
oh yeah, so it's slotted in with the Marvel slot. So yeah, be interesting to see if we might even get like they did with the Mandalorian. They might drop the Wednesday, and then there might be another episode to follow on the Friday. You never know.
Yeah, that would be good if we got like the first episode on the Wednesday, then the second episode on the Friday, and then it's every Friday from there on out. But you've got to think, if they give us 2 episodes in the first week, there's only 7 episodes, isn't there? Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, I think it's because that would sort of tie in actually, because I think it's supposed to finish pretty much the first week of February, so that sort of makes sense.
Yeah. Kat, obviously, I know you obviously really enjoy this latest TV spot teaser. Again, sort of how excited are you going into the series debuting next week? And what are you hoping to see?
Oh, I think I'm pretty excited now. I've never been sort of like the biggest Boba Fett fan. I do like the character a lot, but sort of not to the perhaps obsessive levels that some Mandalorian fans are. So I'm excited to see Boba Fett's character develop more, the moral code he's following, and how he's going to apply that to Tatooine, because he's trying to take a very lawless place, scum and villainy, as Obi-Wan rightly described it, and he's trying to bring this under, new management. And I want to, I want to see, what's his struggles, what does he excel at? Because Boba Fett had about like 7 lines in the original trilogy. He then had those 2 brilliant episodes in The Mandalorian season 2. And it would be really just great to see who he is underneath that mask. What makes Boba Fett tick? To see those morals and those guiding principles in action. I'm really excited to see that part of his character, which has not been explored at all, really, apart from perhaps a bit in the Clone Wars. But that was a much younger Boba Fett, so it would be interesting to see now this more mature Fett with all these lessons that he's learned. And did being nearly eaten by the Sarlacc sort of change him? Did he have sort of an epiphany moment then?
Yeah, because I think one of the things that comes across in the TV spots I've seen is that Boba seems to want to rule the crime syndicate in a sort of as peaceful as a crime syndicate can. Sort of not being as nasty and as gangsterish as Jabba was. So yeah, I wonder if maybe him surviving the Sarlacc, maybe that's like, I was meant to be dead, but I wasn't, and is it like a sort of a second coming of Boba Fett type of thing? I just want to put a theory out there to both of you. Obviously, Jabba's gone. Boba's going to be stepping up to take his place. Is Rota the Hutt going to be out for revenge for his father?
Oh, that's an interesting theory. I mean, Rota's never been brought back since the Clone Wars. We had this little stinky Hutt baby, and that was it. That, I mean, technically though, I mean, his revenge should have been against Leia, and not Boba Fett. But yeah, that would be interesting to see if there's more Hutts. Do the Hutts try and come back?
I'm just thinking in true Hutt fashion, I don't think Rota would be upset that Jabba's dead because he would inherit the crime syndicate and be the boss now. But actually, Boba's going to take over. So he's like sort of took his birthright away from him.
Yeah, it's definitely something that, it's something that's there in the background that, they've said that there's going to be surprises and other characters that we already know coming into the series that we don't know about. And that'd certainly tie in. And let's face it, it'd be quite a lot of fun to see the Hutts back in action and also trying to rebuild what they once had. So yeah, that's something. Who knows what's going to come from Favreau and Filoni, and obviously now they've got Robert Rodriguez, who's got some. If you look at his work that he's done in the past, some of the stuff like From Dusk Till Dawn, obviously Spy Kids, he's got such a wide range. And obviously, when you look at that one episode that he's done of The Mandalorian, for me, that was one of the standout episodes, especially for the action side of things. So, yeah, a lot of fun to come.
Definitely. Moving on from Book of Boba Fett, I feel like Book of Boba Fett's been a topic for the past 10 episodes because every week we get moving on from that, obviously, we mentioned a couple of weeks ago about the new Lego AT-AT. And how some people were saying you cannot really take it apart. I hear that the Lego designers have now come onto YouTube to show you how it's done.
They have. So yes, the fans were in a bit of confusion about the new UCS 8080, and there was some speculation that certain elements couldn't come apart, particularly the connecting joints for the legs. But the amazing designers at Lego have come onto YouTube, and Henrik Andersson shows you some tips to actually get the Technic pins out safely without having to use any sharp implements or anything that could damage the Lego bricks, really. It's a great little quick video. It's only, I think, 2 minutes. And it is fiddly, but it does look like it can be done. And I really applaud the Lego group for coming onto YouTube to show how it is done, because their previous press release was just like verbal instructions, which weren't that helpful, because when you're talking about Lego bricks, one, everybody calls different Lego bricks different things. There's no universal code. And secondly, Lego is just such a visual toy that those verbal instructions weren't particularly useful. But this video is exactly what the fans needed, and it'd be interesting to see now if anybody comes onto social media and says, "Success! I managed to do it."
Yep, I wouldn't have Lego listening to this podcast because I'm sure one of us suggested doing a YouTube video last
was
time
me.
around. So there we go, listening and stealing our ideas. Speaking of Lego, has anyone purchased any Lego or got any Lego coming for Christmas?
I haven't. And as far as I know, I've got none coming. I've got me fingers crossed that Santa might be kind to me. But the main thing I really like is Bo-Katan's ship. That's the one thing, but I don't think I'm going to get that for Christmas. Might have to wait for my birthday in May.
I would feel sorry for you, but aren't you the person who took his Lego Advent calendar and opened it all up in one go?
Yep, yeah. My Lego Advent calendar was made in September when it was first released.
So you've spoilt the fun. You've opened all the Lego too soon. The joys of being an adult.
I cannot understand people that buy Lego and leave it in the box, because I am a big kid. As soon as I get that box of Lego, I think the longest I've ever waited to build a kit that's turned up has been about 4 days.
The longest I've ever waited, I think I've had my second Death Star for at least 4 years.
Just send it over. I'll build it for you, Kat.
The box is about 12 kilos. I don't want the FedEx bill for that.
All right. Well, now that you've got your driving license, you can drive it over.
Jason, I've got the I've had it for about 3 years now. I think the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter with the hyperspace ring from Attack of the Clones.
Oh, don't! That's my grail piece.
So, another desk I'm sitting at right now, boxed. I haven't opened it yet.
I'm crying.
Bought it on Force Friday, not Force Friday. I think I bought it on May the 4th, like 3 years ago, maybe.
That is the one set that I've been dying to get, and I missed that. I'm gutted because Jedi News team, or Stephen James, went over to Billund. Would have been 2019, and I gave them a shopping list, and I forgot to add that on the shopping list, and it wasn't till they got back. In conversation with Steve, he said, "Oh, I nearly picked up Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter." He said it was only 25 quid. And I cried at that point.
It's worth a lot more than that now on eBay, I tell you.
Exactly.
Kat, have you got any sets coming for Christmas?
Well, I just managed to snag off the resale market the Charles Dickens tribute set of A Christmas Carol and Santa's Front Yard with the reindeer, the latter being this year's gift with purchase. So I've got those sort of little Christmas dioramas dotted around the house.
Very good, very good. Moving on from Lego, and to tell us more about, there's obviously been a sort of a sad loss within the sort of Star Wars fan group community. Jason, if you want to go ahead and tell everybody about that.
Yeah, sadly, on I think it was the 9th of December, or at least, no, the 10th of December, that was when I heard about it. A guy named Pedge Wadley, or at least that's the name he was known as within the Star Wars costuming community, passed away sadly after a long battle with motor neuron disease. Pedge was someone that I'd come across during lockdown because the Droid Builders, which he was a member of, actually set up a sort of live broadcast on the internet every so often where they raised money because obviously they couldn't get out and about. So they did basically a lot of fun interviews. And on one of the episodes that they did, they managed to get Anthony Daniels on for an interview. Now, Pedge was one of the only people that also cosplayed or costumed as C-3PO. And he and Anthony had interacted before at conventions and that, and he'd actually managed to meet Anthony at MCM Birmingham in 2019 in his C-3PO costume. So I sat through this live broadcast, and I have to say I found it today and rewatched it prior to this show. And if you get the chance, do a search for Droid Builders UK on YouTube, because there's some absolutely brilliant videos on there. And the interview with Anthony Daniels, where Pedge and Lee Towersey, who is the main operator for the R2 unit in all of the recent films, interview Anthony. Although it's quite funny because Anthony sort of takes over the interviewing, which actually gives it a real personal feel, because Pedge then becomes more of the focus, in that Anthony's interested in explaining, the intricacies of playing C-3PO and talking to someone else who's had experience being in that costume. And it really is a brilliant interview to watch. So Pedge was then a character that I sort of knew without even knowing. And then through the Droid Builders UK site, I've been following that sadly he became quite ill. And for me, it just went to show just how much camaraderie there is within the community. Because, first of all, he was trying to build an R2 unit, and obviously as his illness got worse, he was struggling. So a group of the guys actually got together and went and spent the day with him at his house working on it once lockdown had lifted, trying to help him get it completed so he could fulfill his dream. And then even when he was in hospital, the guys regularly took it in turns to go and meet him. And obviously each year, the Droid Builders select a charity that they then spend a year fundraising for. And this year it's been for motor neuron disease. So it's really sad that obviously Pedge has passed away, and I know it's going to leave a huge gap within the costuming community. The guys, I know Pedge's funeral's coming up towards the end of this month, and touch wood, I'm hoping that restrictions don't cause any issues, because there's plans for a huge both UK Garrison Star Wars costuming community and the Droid Builders that they're going to put on a real send-off for a character within the community that's played a large part. Obviously we published or Steve put together a piece on Jedi News, and also throughout the community there's been real outpourings of grief over this. So on behalf of everyone, I'd just like to send my condolences to the family and to all that knew Pedge, because without knowing him, he's already left quite an impression on me anyway. So I definitely recommend anyone gets a chance look that up on YouTube.
Yeah, and obviously your thoughts go out to Pedge's friends and family. Obviously, it's always sad when someone passes away, even sadder when it's Christmas time, when we're all meant to be sort of, a time of joy, but it's a sad things happen there. And it does make me think, think about the things you do have in life and be grateful for them, because you never know what's around the corner and you never know what other people are going through. Moving on from that. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
No, I was going to say definitely. And again, for me, it just goes to show as well, um, you know, the camaraderie within the Star Wars community. It's a good time of year for everyone to remember, all the different people, and also the fact that everyone's there to support each other, and that's what I love about this whole Star Wars fandom and everything.
Definitely. And speaking of Star Wars fandom, we've had some questions come in on the Twitter for us guys to ask. Obviously, we opened up. We said you guys want to send a few questions in, a little sort of Christmas present to the listeners. So John asks, what's the one Star Wars item you would love to find under the Christmas tree this year? So we'll go to you, Kat, first. Any Star Wars item you want, what's the one Star Wars item you'd love to find under the Christmas tree?
That's a bit of a difficult question for me this year. There hasn't been as much Star Wars on, whether that's television or film, so there's not been as much merchandise this year. And my latest Kylo Ren figure is running late. It's been pushed now till January, so that's not going to be underneath my tree. But I think I would settle for the Lego 75310 Duel on Mandalore, so that I could have the new Clone Wars Ahsoka minifigure.
Remember, it's any Star Wars item, so you could have said a screen-used Kylo Ren helmet.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's never going to happen on my student budget.
But it's the power of Santa.
But if Santa has that amazing power, then I would prefer to have like a full screen costume at that point with the lightsaber and everything.
Does that include Adam Driver in the costume at the same time, Kat?
No, just the costume. Just I can have that in a display case and have the lightsaber, because Kylo Ren lightsabers cost a small fortune, and also it is really difficult to get a good Kylo Ren helmet. So yeah, definitely those. And whilst we're at it, let's go for a full signed collection of sequel trilogy signatures, whole cast signatures on a poster.
Jason, what about you?
Several items. Obi-Wan Starfighter, Bo-Katan's ship, Build-A-Bear Boba Fett, Build-A-Bear Ahsoka, Mos Eisley Lego set. Just anything really.
John was very clear. What's the one Star Wars item you would love to find under the Christmas tree this year, Jason? And you've just named the whole of Toys R Us.
No, Smith's Toys. It's Bo-Katan ships are Smith's Toys exclusive. So yeah.
Well, I mean, if you like wrap them all together as one present in a big piece of wrapping paper, then technically it is one item.
I think just a big box of Lego Star Wars, all the kits that I haven't got, I'd be eternally grateful.
So I've been thinking about this, and my first answer was, and it was just my holy grail item, which I would like an original Star Wars Episode 6 Revenge of the Jedi poster from the original release, when a few posters got out before they changed the name. Obviously, you can get reprints, but I want an original one. Obviously, you go for a lot of money. That was what I went to first. But thought about it, I want something priceless, and I think I would go for Carrie Fisher's The Last Jedi script, because I know she was famous for being a script doctor, and I know she made a lot of notes on that. So just having her actual script from The Last Jedi, which is her last Star Wars film, really. You know, the last one she was actually involved in, like her actual mind and sort of soul involved. So it'd be great to have that, and also like go through and see what notes she wrote in that. I think that would be like a sort of a fantastic priceless item.
Oh wow, that is a great one.
Yeah, you just gazumped both of us straight away there. But then again, to be fair, you had a heads up on the questions, so
I did, yes. Obviously, we'll let John decide who will give him the best answer. Moving on from John, we've got Danny Boy. Danny Boy says Mando versus Boba, old school cowboy fashion shootout. Who are you backing and why?
that's easy. It's got to be Boba.
Would you agree, Kat?
No, I would not. Absolutely, the Mandalorian. He's got the more modern tech. He's got the better jetpack. He's got the younger joints. No, Mando.
Yeah, but Boba already pretty much proved in the episode of Mando that he could hold his own.
Yeah, but I mean, Din Djarin was whacked into a wall like 6 times by Moff Gideon, and he was still fighting. Okay.
I think
Boba's been.
what comes to my mind is that it's an old school cowboy shootout. So obviously, I know Mando has a sidearm, a blaster, where Boba does have a sidearm on his sort of back, but we've never really seen him use it, especially in the original trilogy anyway. So like, you know, take that rifle away from Boba, like his blaster rifle, and like who can pull the pistol quicker? Probably Mando. Plus, Mando has the more premium Beskar armor. But I think Boba's is Beskar. I don't think it's as premium as what Mando has. I think Boba's Beskar is very similar to what Mando had originally before the Modern record. So I think, you know, if Boba did get a shot off and it hit Mando will be able to get 2 shots off, still standing, because his armor would take the hit.
It's a difficult one, isn't it? I'd like to stick with the old school, but I have to admit you both have pretty good reasons there. But I just want to give Boba the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, Boba does have the more experience, though. He is a more experienced fighter than Din Djarin, but I'm still rooting Mando.
2-1 to Mando. And last up from That's the Scuttlebutt, they want to know, what is your most prized Star Wars collectible, and is there a story behind it? So we'll go to you, Jason. What's your most prized Star Wars collectible?
Mine is the Star Wars, the Art of Rebels book, because I've got I think I've talked about this before, I've got the real big special edition version where it's got the lovely gift box that opens up and you've got the light up lightsabers, and the artwork's just amazing. It's such a high quality book, and I just absolutely adore Rebels. So yeah, that is the one thing that is my pride and joy.
Kat, let's go to you.
Oh, that's a great question. Currently, my most prized Star Wars collectible is 75192 UCS Millennium Falcon. That's the new one. When it was announced back in, I want to say 2015, I immediately knew I had to get it. The previous version, you know, was going for crazy prices on the resale market. I mean, it's a holy grail Lego set. So when the new one came around, I was just in awe of it, and I remember working really hard at Car Boots for I think like 6 weeks, raising the money to actually get the Falcon. And then at my local Lego store, they only had 20 on the day of release, and I specifically remember being handed a tag that said number 15. So I had number 15 out of 20.
That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. 15 out of 20. I think mine would be the greatest figure ever made, the Black Series Hasbro HasLab Rancor. Oh, hang on a sec. Hasbro didn't make it.
I thought that was going to be on, like, if you could have anything under the Christmas tree. I thought that was going to be your answer.
Well, it's come and gone. We've got to let the past die. Kill it if you have to.
Oh, Hasbro killed that 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a sad day, and I think it just goes to prove what we said all along. They really did cock that one up.
Definitely. I think it's a difficult question for me. So, like, I've got a lot of Star Wars collectibles. A lot. The ones that always draw me, I do. So I've got like my 90s X-Wing, Kenner X-Wing. That's in actually like really good condition still. I've played with it loads. It's like that's in me detail, if I can see that now. I've got my Lego Millennium, not Lego, sorry. I've got my Kenner Millennium Falcon from the 90s, which again, like that's in bad condition. It's battered. That's on top of me detail, and again, it's there. It reminds us of the good times, and it's really cool to have. But I don't know where this is actually. I have to dig it out. But so when the Phantom Menace came out, my dad, who's not really into Star Wars, but his best friend when he was a boy was Brian, and Brian went to the Phantom Menace premiere, the UK premiere, and he was, I don't know if everybody got them or what, but like, he was given like a program that was like a white silver Star Wars The Phantom Menace program, and there was this beautiful sort of book with like pictures and bits from the movie in it that everybody at the premiere got. So I wonder where that is actually. It might be at my mum's house still. That's when I used to live there. But I remember getting that as like a 11-year-old and like really feeling like I had something so special and so rare. And I would like get it, look at the pictures, and I would like put it back away and keep it in like a drawer where like it couldn't get damaged and stuff. I was very protective of it. Like I didn't take it to school. Like if friends knew about it, they could come and I would get it out and show them, and then go back away again. I was very protective of it, just because how special it seemed to be. So maybe that, that or the X-Wing, I think maybe.
Yeah, the funny thing is, my kids have still got my second-hand Millennium Falcon that I had. I got it, must have been about 87, 88. And they've still got that, although that is really battered. But I think it is in a rather battered old box, which was the original box that it came in.
That's really cool. Trying to think what that character was. Yeah, I would say the ones I've said. Yeah. Moving on from that, obviously George Lucas has been in a very giving mood, like he normally is. George is very quiet. He doesn't really say much publicly, but the Hobson Lucas Family Foundation, which is George and George's wife's foundation, gave a donation to help establish the Martin Scorsese Institute, and it's sort of like a virtual production center within New York University. That's going to be there to help sort of young people in sort of learning about film and sort of getting those skills. Again, it's a non-story really about us. I don't think George gets enough credit for just how given he is. All George's children were adopted. He went and took in kids who maybe came from bad backgrounds or didn't have somebody who was there for them, and he was there for them. He's well known for, he's donated quite a bit to sort of Martin Luther King charities. He's donated a lot to, I'm not quite sure where the money went, but I know the Disney deal, sort of a lot of that money was sort of given away, to charities and charitable foundations. So yeah, I just think this guy who created this thing we all love so much, who he doesn't really ride its coattails. He's very much he's a very quiet man. He often, whenever you see pictures of him, he's always like walking down the street with like a nice coffee, or he's eating some Chinese, and he's wearing his jeans, a checky shirt, and his Reeboks. Do you know what I mean? Um, he's not driving Maseratis in Tom Ford suits. He's the exact opposite of that. So I just think, for me, George has always set been an example with these awesome stories, but also the way he lives his life. I think it's a great example of set as George has a lot, but he gives a lot back. So yeah, I just want to talk about that. If you guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, the George Lucas these days, the only time I seem to see him pop up is when he turns up to a Formula One event, which I know he was one of the people that when Lewis Hamilton went into the championship challenge, George actually sent him a really nice good luck message. It's like you say, he's got a history of being a great philanthropist. And yeah, this is just another thing to show his support to filmmakers of the future. And let's face it, he is probably one of the biggest innovators in film technology when you look at the setup of Skywalker Sound, ILM. And this is just another case where you see George, building a future that's not just for the filmmakers, but a great future for us as film viewers.
Definitely. I mean, when George created, the Force and the Jedi Code within Star Wars, he basically lives by his own Jedi Code. He's there sort of spreading the light of filmmaking as much as he can, and he is so giving with his philanthropy to many different charities. And it is wonderful to see. He does set a great example. He sets a Jedi-like example.
Definitely. I think for me, George, he's a very giving man. He's a very kind man. I think sometimes his sense of humour, which can be very dry, is taken the wrong way. But I think he's very funny. And I think, to me, he's one of the greatest storytellers of all time. And I think you cannot tell the story of modern cinema without George Lucas.
It's funny you say about his sense of humour. It's one of my favourite parts of the Gallery documentary series on Disney Plus, where obviously Jon Favreau's known for being quite a funny guy, but George Lucas absolutely takes him down when Favreau's there showing him around the set, and he shows him obviously the rifle that was inspired by Boba Fett's rifle from the original animation. And Jon Favreau just is there like really showing it off and says, of course, it's canon like this. And George just turns, looks at him and goes, not really, and moves along. And it was just literally absolutely hilarious. But it's like you say, it's just his dry delivery. And I love it.
Definitely. Moving on from that, has anybody seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet?
Oh, I really want to, but I haven't been to the cinema yet.
Oh, well, it's very good. I have seen it. I'm not going to talk spoilers, but we are going to talk that there is some Lego Star Wars in the movie, as there has been in all three Spider-Man so far.
I heard about this because obviously the bit I remember is where they were building the Lego Death Star. So what's in the new film?
So obviously in the first movie we see like a fully built Death Star,
Yep.
and then it gets dropped and smashed when
Oh, don't talk to me about that.
So that sort of mirrors the destruction of the original of A New Hope. And then when we see it in, obviously it's not in the second movie, Far From Home, which is obviously makes sense because The Empire Strikes Back doesn't have a Death Star. So yeah, and then in Spider-Man: No Way Home, the Lego Death Star returns, and it's half built, which sort of in Return of the Jedi we've got a half built Death Star. It's got pieces missing. It's fully operational, but it's half built. So yeah, sort of a cool little Easter eggs there from the director John Watt. So yeah, I just wanted to, obviously not going to give spoilers about the actual movie because there's loads in it that you're going to love when you watch it. But yeah, John Watts obviously he's just added some sort of a Star Wars Lego original trilogy Easter eggs in there, which I find really cool. But yeah, that brings about sort of all the talking points we had down for tonight's episode. Kat, is anything you want to add?
No, I think this has been a great episode before the holidays.
Oh, I'm going to have to jump in because if this is our really, really last episode of the year, I've got to ask you both a couple of questions. So, first one, starting with you, Pete, is out of all the TV series that is due to drop next year for Star Wars, which one are you looking forward to the most?
Okay, so we'll not include Book of Boba Fett because that's out this year technically.
Yeah, yeah.
Sort of things that are on the horizon. I think for me the top three ones I want to see are Andor, Kenobi, and Acolyte. So I don't know if we'll get Acolyte next year or not. If it'll be too. It's obviously in pre-production now, but I think we're definitely getting Andor, and definitely getting Kenobi in 2022, and I can't wait for those series.
But which one is the one that you're really, really looking forward to?
Both really. I think both are very different. I think Andor's going to be very sort of espionage, more about sort of the Star Wars galaxy and learning new things. Where I think Kenobi's going to be more about punching us right in the hearts and ripping our souls out.
Yeah. What about you, Kat?
For me, it is 100% Ahsoka. I cannot wait to see where that storyline goes. I'm really hoping to see some Chiss in live action.
Yeah, I have to admit, I think for me it is the Obi-Wan series. But I'm also hoping that at the end of next year we're going to get. I'm pretty sure it's going to be this time next year. We're going to be talking about season 3 of The Mandalorian as well.
Did you have any other questions for us, Jason?
Yeah, the next one is, out of everything that's announced, what is the one piece of merchandise that you're really looking forward to next year? Obviously, no Rancor, but what else have you heard about? Yeah.
I don't know. I think the problem is like we've had stuff being like shown to us like at the beginning of this year that we haven't even got yet. That's because of if they're blaming the pandemic or whatever it is they're blaming, but like the distribution problems at Hasbro are pretty big. So like, they re-released the original Clone Wars micro series figures in Black Series form, which
Yeah.
I've got pre-ordered like General Windu and stuff in Grievous. And again, like they pre-ordered, I paid for them, but like they haven't arrived yet, and who knows when they're going to arrive? They're probably going to arrive next year. And they're going to be really cool, but they're not planned for next year. I mean, they were planned for this year. So I don't know. I think for me, I want to see Disney Parks put more of their merchandise available in the UK. Those legacy lightsabers are available at Disney Parks only. Like, should be available on the Disney website across the world. Because
Yeah.
I would happily pay full price for one.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to see that. Some of those sabers look absolutely amazing. What about you, Kat?
I've actually got the exact same problem as Pete. I've had my Hot Toys Episode 9 Kylo Ren figure on pre-order for, I think it's like a year and a half, and they're shipped in from China. So it's now scheduled, I think, for January next year. So yeah, I'm looking forward to finally receiving that figure. It's been the longest wait.
Yeah, I'm hoping next year we're going to finally see some sort of normality to it all, and we're actually going to get what we're all looking for.
Definitely, definitely. Any other questions, Jason?
No, I think those were the two that I had off the top of my head. Because obviously, we got a lot coming up next year. As a Star Wars fan, I think 2022 is a real year to look forward to. There's also quite a few books and comic books coming out. So yeah, 2022 is a year I'm looking forward to.
Definitely, definitely. And just one last thing from me. We'll not discuss it, but just to sort of address the obvious. We've not spoken about Star Wars Eclipse. We will not be speaking about the upcoming game Star Wars Eclipse. As a podcast, Star Wars has decided to stand with our fellow podcasts who, are rightly sort of upset and wanting answers as to why a Star Wars project would be sort of given to somebody like David Cage, who was head of the the game company who will be developing that game. And we're not going to discuss anything marketing wise that they release for that game or the game itself until the point where Disney Lucasfilm Games come out and tell us why it's happening or come out and make a change. Then if that changes, then we might then start talking about it if they make the change. But at the minute, it's all radio silence on that front. But we stand with the fact that Star Wars is for everyone. David Cage has very much said that it does not make games for everyone. Again, we're not going to go into his comments. If you want to search that up, you can find that online. But no, Star Wars is for everyone. And the content creators who are given the privilege to make Star Wars content should be good people and should be making content that is available for everyone. Not everyone will like it, but it should be available for everyone. And I think for a company that put out a T-shirt at Star Wars Celebration saying Star Wars is for everyone, I bought that T-shirt myself and I wear it. It's one of my favorite T-shirts, and I take its message seriously. For a company that officially sold that T-shirt in Lucasfilm and in Disney, they need to answer the questions as to why it's happened and what they plan on doing about it. And I think it speaks volumes the more it goes on in silence. But just know anybody who was sort of upset about the game and about how it's been handled. Like I said, we stand with you. We stand with the hashtag Blackout Star Wars Eclipse. Like I said, we're not going to be talking about any marketing of the game that they release or the game itself. Like I said, until the landscape changes. And if the landscape doesn't change, then we'll be radio silent on it. Jason, have you got any messages for the listeners before we wrap this up?
I've got one of. I know I've said about these last time. The affirmation cards. So I've got one to leave you with. I like this one because when I decided to talk about Pedge earlier, I decided to check because I thought there's got to be a C3PO card. And funnily enough, it also ties in with the whole making thing and also with what we've said about George Lucas earlier. And it says, make something new, build an invention or create a piece of art out of things found in your home. It doesn't matter if it works or looks good. The act of creation often teaches us valuable lessons. So I just thought that was quite a nice one to go into, and obviously wish everyone a Merry Christmas, and we'll look forward to exploring the galaxy far, far away with you next year, 2022.
Definitely. I couldn't have said that better myself, Jason. And Kat, any final messages for the listeners as we head into Christmas?
Happy holidays and happy Life Day to every denizen of the galaxy near and far, far away. May you have a peaceful and bright time, and may the new year be kind, healthy, and may the force be with you in 2022.
See, that's beautiful. I'm just sitting
Ah, she gazumped me.
I'm not even going to try and beat that one. I think obviously this is our last episode before Christmas, so happy Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays, whatever it is that you celebrate. Enjoy it. If you want to celebrate anything on December 25th, then just have a great day. We might be back with an episode before the new year, depending on whether we can get together or not, and we've all got busy schedules. Obviously, Boba Fett will be landing on the 29th, so ideally we all want to get together and review those episodes for you guys to listen to. But we don't know if that'll be before January 1st or after January 1st at this point, but we'll keep you posted through social media, so do not worry. Last thing from me, Jason, where can people find you on social media?
Cat for you at Hondo Ling is my Twitter. I'm not going to go down the Instagram chat, but yeah, that's the place to find me.
Oh, you remembered this time.
And Kat, where can people find you on social media?
You can find me at Twitter, at Cat Kylo, both with a K. Always happy to talk Kylo Ren and Star Wars.
Fantastic. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Geordie Jedi Pete. You can also find the podcast on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok at Star Wars Podcast. And you can find the podcast on Twitter at Bors Star. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. Have a great Christmas. Have a great holidays. Just have a great day on December 25th, everyone. May the force be with you all. And remember, always tell that to Kanja Club.
Hello, Star Wars listeners. This is Savannah Odit. You might know me as host of The Dorky Diva Show with my co-host Brian Balance. I am also producer of The Adventures of the Zolan Dart, which is a Star Wars-inspired audio drama that we produced over the last year. If you love stories about smugglers, courage, heroic characters, and maybe a few foes along the way, you should go to thedorkydivashow.com and listen to The Adventures of the Zolan Dart today.
Shout! We've got your pigs.
Were any of the critters harmed?
What did you do now?
I didn't do anything. I just freaked out for no reason.
It was nice doing business with you again. Maybe next time we could deliver something less temperamental.
Now, what you call temperamental, I call fun.
Hey, is there a place nearby where I can make some repairs?
3 clicks south of here, you'll find a small spaceport. They should have what you need, as long as it's nothing too big.
Dynamic class? My stars, you don't hear about many of those still being space-worthy.
It's been in my family for a while.
She's pretty great. Any chance you have a hovercart we can use to load up?
I'll check out the HoloNet to see if anything new has come up in the sector.
My name is Sereth Khan. I am the chief here on Kamai. My people and I have been experiencing food shortages as of late due to unforeseen natural occurrences. We are looking to hire someone.
I say we take this one. The pay is great, and it's the type of job we're familiar with.
Welcome. You must be Captain Otoa. I've already sent word to Pac 2 to expect you in the next cycle or so.
You told him we were coming before we even accepted the job. That's rather presumptuous, isn't it?
Perhaps, though once I received confirmation that you were interested and on your way here, I couldn't help but hope.
Fair enough. Well, we'll be back as soon as we can.
Well, that's not good.
Is that blaster fire I hear?
So you're the one.
Captain, it sounds like they want to do this the hard way.
I love when they got some fight in them.
This is bad. This is bad. We're about to have a lot of company.
I'll see you soon.